Welcome to another Global Fusion Music and Arts evening of poetry, music and spoken word. We're live in the GFMA studio and we've got some wonderful performers with us this evening. And our guest is JJ Joseph Adamson. JJ is well known to GFMA and I'm looking forward to listening to his work and speaking with JJ later. It's a special evening this evening because we're going to feature the writers group. GFMA runs a writers group for some time now, over the last 9 or 10 years, and some wonderful work has been produced from it. This evening we're going to be featuring the special work of these writers. Can I remind everyone before we start to stay muted unless you're performing, and if you can find the chat function on your computer or iPad or whatever you're on, it would be lovely if you could share your comments in the chat, because though we're, all distant and we're here, but, we're all on Zoom, the best way to keep in contact is via the chat. And I can pick up some of that chat and feed back some of the wonderful comments that people share with the performers. So I'm going to start this evening. I'm going to start with a song that's called Spring in Winter, though at the moment we're a bit winter in spring, I think. But it's so I read the words and I thought, oh, that's interesting. So this is a sort of positive song in winter. I don't like winter very much, and it's about when you can we actually wish the spring on and the warm weather? And there are lots of things that are mentioned in this song, like bluebells and the days getting lighter and longer are happening, but unfortunately we are still in winter, so maybe we're just not wishing hard enough. So this is Spring in Winter. It's got a little chorus actually, and if people here like to sing and want to join in, I'd be very happy with that. Wait for the spring when the new leaves begin. Wait for the warmth from the sun. When the earth can renew and the winter is through, watch the birds returning one by one. Winter aside and let spring be the guide and warm the cold winter path. Toss winter aside and let spring be the guide and warm the cold in your heart. For the light when you know the end's in sight. Watch for the bluebells in the wood. And if I wish for the spring and the hope that it brings, will winter leave us sooner than it should? Cast winter aside and let spring be the guide and warm the cold winter path. Cast winter aside and let spring be the guide and warm the cold in your heart. When you wish for the spring and the hope that it brings, winter leaves you sooner than it should. Thank you very much. And I'm going to move on now to our first performer. Our first performer is Antoinette Clark-Akalani, and we're going actually Antoinette is obviously a member of the writers group. Everyone is here performing this evening. Antoinette is not a local performer, and one of the joys I think that we've had of going on Zoom, you know, everything has a plus and a minus, doesn't it? And it was all difficult, wasn't it, in the pandemic, and we couldn't meet. But we have chosen to stay on Zoom as well as live because we met so many wonderful people, and Antoinette is one of those. Antoinette lives in Bristol and wouldn't be able to be with us other than for Zoom. She's performed many times, a big part of the writers group. Antoinette, always a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you, Rose. Good evening, everybody. Now, the poem I'm going to present this evening is a historical poem. It is called The SS Great Western Steamship. The Great Western Steamship was the first purpose-built ocean liner to travel from Bristol to New York, America. She was the brainchild of Isambard Kingdom Brunel, the civil engineer who designed her. At that time, steamships were small and confined to shallow waters, where they steamed on canals, lakes, and rivers. With professional expertise and exceptional vision, Brunel knew that purpose-built steamships could cross the Atlantic Ocean. Despite critics like the scientist and lecturer Dr. Ladner, who argued that transatlantic steam navigation would be a disaster because of the discordance of the hull's carrying capacity and the drag of water. Brunel used mathematics to prove that this idea was a misnomer. And in 1836, William Patterson and his team were commissioned by Brunel to build her. She was Brunel's dream of extending the Great Western Railway from London to America. Patterson and his team worked around the clock, constructing the Great Western Steamship on Wapping's Wharf dry dock. They made her hull with English oak and Polish pine, and she was iron-strapped. Her keel was laid in June 1836. Its length was over 62 meters. At that time, no other keel had attained these measures. She had a registered tonnage of 1,340 tons. Her length was 235 feet, and beam 58 feet wide, and 2 iron paddle wheels were fitted on her hull at either side. These would perhaps propel her through the ocean's waters and smash through ice if she was caught in frozen waters. She was fitted with 2 side lever steam engines by Maudslay, Son and Field, and 750 horsepower these 2 engines yield. 4 masts with auxiliary sails helped to propel and stabilize her when she was caught in treacherous seas or stormy weather. There was space for 128 first-class passengers, 20 servants, and 60 crew and officers. Years later, she was enlarged to serve more voyagers. The inside of the ship was a wondrous sight to behold. The saloon looked palatial, with its gilded pillars painted bold, and its magnificent accommodation was worth its weight in gold. Her figurehead was of Neptune holding a golden trident that in the sun shone brilliant and vibrant. SS Great Western Steamship was launched on 19th July 1837. This was witnessed by an estimated crowd of 50,000. The occasion was marred when a large bulk timber fell on a shipwright's head, fracturing his skull and striking him dead. On 31st of March, 1838, the Great Western left Bristol on her maiden voyage to New York, with Brunel and his associates Thomas Guppy, Christopher Clarkson aboard, while Lieutenant James Hoskins was the captain on board. Soon after departure, a fire broke out in the engine room, and Brunel hurried down the 4-stroke hole to investigate. He fell 20 feet when a burnt ladder rung did disintegrate. His fall was broken when he landed on Caxton. He was seriously injured. This led to his disembarkation. Little damage was done to the Great Western steamliner because Caxton had quickly put out the fire. The maiden voyage was delayed by this disaster, but on 8th April 1838, the voyage restarted. This time, only seven passengers embarked because of fear of the tragedies that had previously occurred. For 2 years, the Essex Great Western was the largest passenger steamliner, sailing majestically and gallantly across the ocean waters, conveying first-class passengers from Bristol to New York, America. At that time, sailing ships took up to 35 days to make this journey, but SS Great Western only took 14 days to complete her itinerary. She steamed for 8 years across the Atlantic Ocean to and from New York, making 45 crossings in 8 years doing this work. She carried 4,318 passengers eastward and brought 3,357 westward. On 12 December 1846, she was stopped from this touring journey, and on 11th March 1847 was sold to the Royal Mail Steam Packet Company, where she steamed between Southampton and the West Indies, completing 14 voyages between 1847 and 1853. From 1853 to 1855, she made 9 trips to South America on these journeys. Between November and December 1848, a mixed-race Martinican, Augustus Francois Perinon, an anti-slavery abolitionist and politician, traveled first class on the SS Great Western. Perinon was pivotal in bringing to Martinique the abolition decree that officially set the colony's enslaved people free. In 1856, the Great Western steamship served as a troop ship during the Crimean War, carrying soldiers between UK, Malta, Crimean Peninsula, and Gibraltar. Some of these troops were cared for by Mother Seacole. The mixed-race British-Jamaican nurse, Mrs. Mary Seacole, who used her funds to travel to the Crimea in the early 1855s. Where she ministered to sick, injured, and dying soldiers whom on her relied. She rode on horseback into the battlefield to carry out some of her duties, even when under fire of snipers and gunners. The Essex Great Western was scrapped and broken up in August 1856. Only her great bronze bell without its clappers still exist, with its engraving, SS Great Western Steamship, 1837. But the bell will chime again in 2027, when a life-size replica of the SS Great Western Steamship is unveiled and stands in the Albion dry dock for visitors and tourists to learn about her and with her virtually interact.
Thank you so much, Antoinette. So much of your work is about bringing detail into things, and detail that somehow has been lost sometimes in history. I love listening to your work. Always poignant and relevant, leaves us thinking. Beautiful.
Thank you.
As well. Yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much. Brilliant.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're moving now to a performer who is live in the studio with us. It's really exciting to have people here live as well as on Zoom, actually. So welcome, Constanza Maria. One of the newer members of the GFMA writing group. Lovely to have you with us, and you have performed a few times at GFMA events. Beautiful work that we'd love to hear again.
Thank you so much, and it's such an honour to be part of the group. My piece today is called Impressive. Madison was walking home from the concert at the Royal Albert Hall at midnight. The large, perfectly round dome was beautifully lit up as usual. There was snow on the ground, which was quite impressive for London for any time of year, including winter. Her performance as one of the lead violinists on Lord of the Rings, however, had been less impressive. Madison put a hand on her heart as she was starting to remember it, in an attempt to regain her emotional integrity. The issues hadn't been her well-rehearsed violin play. It never was. She was genuinely talented and hard-working, hence her noted and coveted position in the orchestra. Madison, even though on autopilot, stopped and looked both ways now as she crossed Prince Consort Road. South Kensington was, after all, very busy, even after hours. Still, it was never her that was singled out for praise, that was celebrated at the end of the night for her amazing performance. Never had all the success of the composition been attributed to her. No, as usual, that had been reserved for Margot. Margot was the never-ending fame that she so gracefully accepted with bashes of her long and wispy eyelashes. Margot, who was more than just gifted. She was somehow born with an aptitude to shine in everything she did, no matter how mundane. Margot with the big smile and handsome, well-to-do boyfriend. Madison was walking past the hole in the wall and had almost reached Knightsbridge, when the as yet unprocessed memory of the evening's events assaulted her with full force. She almost tripped as she lost her footing on the cobblestone pavement and wondered if she could quickly grab something to eat from the McDonald's she was just passing to get her depleted energy levels back up. Madison was really not in the mood for junk food these days and had planned to hold out for her earlier prepared vegan tofu salad that was awaiting her in her little studio flat in Belgravia. Many people were jealous she could afford to live there, but they didn't know it consumed nearly all of her wages each month and was tiny in comparison to most of her friends' places. Madison wanted so badly to forget what she had done earlier that night. She was so embarrassed that her jealousy and resentment had gotten the better of her. But however much she tried to suppress the images flooding her mind, she saw them regardless, in colourful vividity. There were crisp images of her smashing Margot's expensive violin on the conductor's podium at the end of the performance, whilst the audience was still in rapturous standing ovation. There were distinct images of individual audience members as their delighted faces changed to something more like shock and incredulity, and there were images of Margot and the conductor slowly turning away from the audience and towards her, broken violin still in hand. There were no images after that. All the rage she had felt at the time was also gone. Margot didn't remember leaving the Royal Albert Hall. She only came to several minutes later, already automatically headed home like a well-programmed robot. She somehow still felt numb in a foreboding way, but already she had a sense of the overwhelming shame she was going to experience when the feelings complementing her memories returned in full force also. Madison had well and truly made an unforgettable impression that evening, just not a good one.
That was excellent. I think we all enjoyed that. Nobody saw that coming, I thought. Impressive is right. Absolutely lovely. Thank you so much for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Ross.
Lovely. fabulous, wasn't it? Beautifully put together. So we're live in the studio, we've been to Bristol, and now we're going to France, actually. The magic of Zoom is taking us to France, to Mary Craynard, this is going to be, I think, one of your first performances with us, with the group. So it is lovely to have you with us.
Thank you so much for inviting me. It's my first time, and thank you. It's just a short little poem. So it's called Beastly Winds. When beastly winds of human love rip a hole into the soul, like a fiery hurricane, leaving not even a trace of essence in its wake, God itself cannot take away the pain. Ever-conscious bliss only puts a landfill in the emptiness and rubs soothing balm on the walls of an ever-aching heart, brimming with karmic particles in the depths of cells, ready to explode at the tiniest trigger of remembrances past lived, or worse, not lived. Thank you, love, for now I know the extent of the trouble in my faint heart. Never again calls the wind. Please, not again sings the moon. No, 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 I say, to a longing too deep for this horrible dream of a world. God, break down the veils of illusion, make me ready to receive in full measure the kingdom of heavenly love that I seek. I have it in French also, but I don't think anybody would understand it, so thank you.
We have got people who would understand it in French. If you want to do that would be lovely. Yeah. We'd love to hear it. Anyway.
Yes, okay. Well, that's very kind of you. Okay. Des vents bestiaux, comme les vents bestiaux de l'amour humain, font un trou dans l'âme, comme un ouragan de flammes, qui consume jusqu'aux dernières particules de l'être. Dieu lui-même n'est d'aucun secours. Cet esprit de joie infinie ne crée qu'une déchetterie au sein du vide, n'applique qu'une pommade au parois d'un cœur toujours à vif, débordant de particules karmiques au fond des cellules prêtes à exploser, au moindre souvenir d'un passé vécu ou pire, non vécu. Merci mon amour, grâce à toi je sais l'étendue du trouble dans mon cœur fragile. Jamais plus souffle le vent, jamais plus chante la lune. Je dis non, non, non à un désir trop fort pour ce monde cauchemardesque. Mon Dieu, brisez les voiles de l'illusion, préparez-moi à recevoir dans toute sa mesure le royaume de l'amour céleste que je recherche. Thank you.
That was beautiful, thank you, and lovely to hear it in French. We have got people in the audience who speak French. Oui.
Thank you.
Oh, that was very lovely. Thank you so much for joining us. That was lovely. We never know what we're going to have on these evenings, do we? And it's always wonderful, I think, these lovely moments. Yeah, thank you. So I'm going to sing another song now. It's called Staring at the Sand, and it's about those moments, I mean, I don't know, perhaps no one has them, where usually at times of distress, I think, where we lose time and we don't quite know where we are, thinking about things and reflecting. We're staring at the sand. Lost train across the bay and the shadows lead the way. It's the closing of the day and the birds no longer stay. I am staring at the sand, I am staring at the sea. Questions weave their web and disappear. I am drifting like the sand, I am drifting like the sea. I'm waiting for the answers to appear. The low sun slips away as the evening makes its way. I've been here half the day, I can't seem to move away. I've been here half the day, I can't seem to move away. Woo! Thank you very much. I'm now going to introduce, he's here live with us, David Braybrook. Hello David, lovely to see you again and welcome again to the studio, because we did have David before as one of the guest speakers and that was really quite a wonderful evening. Beautiful sort of descriptors, I think, that really brought work to life and made for a very interesting discussion with questions from the audience. It was quite a, we almost had to stop the questions because people just wanted to talk about your process of writing and your very easy style reading it, actually.
It was a really nice evening to be.
It really was lovely, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you again.
So the piece I'm reading this evening, a theme at the last session of the writers' group was to rewrite the ending of a novel or poem or whatever. I have rewritten the ending of Atonement by Ian McEwan because at the very last part of the book, the very last few paragraphs, you realise that what you think's been happening, she's actually altered sort of what's gone on. So I thought, let's play with that a little bit and rewrite the rewrite almost. So.
Excellent.
There was a crime that I had insisted that I saw, but I'm not sure whether I did indeed see it or whether I convinced myself, the brain jumping to conclusions based on the information that it thinks it has. For a long time I convinced myself that made me human, but it may also have made me vindictive, but that in itself is an emotion and is also by default human. But there were also the lovers who've been on my mind all night long, or always swirling around my mind. As in life, so in art. I tried to send them off into the sunset, but both them and myself have simply travelled away from the source of all this, only to end up back where we started. Whether the source is like a magnet and drags me back to it, or just simply follows me wherever, I don't know. But it's all rather irrelevant, for whatever I do, we end up back at the beginning. Whichever version I tell you, the same questions remain. There's the version where my lovers end well, standing side by side on a South London pavement as I walk away. There's all the previous pitiless versions, where history and truth twist around this poisoned chalice, resulting in a greyed, blurry vision, a cataract to reality. Then there is the version of the truth whose outcome I think fails to provide any purpose to the reader, where Bobby Turner died of septicemia at the Bray Dunes on the 1st of June 1940, and Cecilia was killed in September the same year by the bomb that destroyed Balham Underground Station. But once again, as I say, how does that constitute an ending? What sense of hope or satisfaction could a reader draw from such an account? But that's the version I've gone with, and that is why it still leaves that grey tint across my eyes and my soul. The only version that would lift the veil would place even greater tragedy on the reader. The truth is more bleak, in spite of the fact that they were both in fact allowed to live. To be gifted life, but to be worse in some ways than had fate taken them away, well, the philosophers and poets can have their field day with that. Robbie, in fact, did contact septicemia on the Bray Dunes, but the Dunkirk evacuation saved him before the poison fully took him in its claw. But the lingering impact had long-term effects as it mixed with the shell shock to plague him with nightmares, vivid hallucinations, until his brain finally retreated and his cognitive function turned to the equivalent of a lettuce. No prognosis of keep calm and carry on would do anything to relieve the symptoms. Cecilia was in the bombing that destroyed the waterworks in Balham Underground Station, the air and the fire above combining with the water and earth below as the perfect elements of death. But she was simply one of the 70 injured, the severity barely making a blip in the statistics of a global conflict. She had lifelong head injuries and could never walk again unassisted. My walk across London that day did end at the church on Clapham Common, and cowardly Bryony limped back to the hospital, unable to confront her sister who was going through such tragedy, with a husband who on bad days had no idea if she's Cecilia, a Nazi jackboot, or Winston Churchill. The next time I saw her was after the bombing, when her and Robbie were together in the flat. He was agitated, but relatively serene. She could not speak for her multiple injuries, but the eyes still worked, and their meaning needed no translation. The letters they wrote to each other are in the archives of the Imperial War Museum, and I could tell you where they are if I really wanted to. But the passion of the emotions they put into their love would obliterate even the stoniest of hearts when they discover that they met but never fulfilled their love. Only a masochist would want to serve such a bleak realism. I couldn't do it to them. I'm also too old, too frightened, and too much in love with the shred of life I have remaining, and I face an incoming tide of forgetting and then oblivion. When this novel is published, all of us will exist as inventions, and no one will care what events and which individuals were misrepresented to make a novel. But if I really believe that, then why have I done what I have? It's because I know that people in this instant world of celebrity and stories will care. In noting that they are dead, no one will try to find them, for they are both still alive at the time of writing, nearing the end of their days in their respective care homes, where the tentacles of the media can't find them. Better now that everyone thinks they're dead until we all are, then there'll be no surviving relatives and we'll all be free. Let us survive and flourish, and as long as there is a single copy, a solitary transcript of my final draft, then my spontaneous, fortuitous sister and her medical prince survive to love. There's also a second reason I've done what I have. Death is cruel, yes, for anyone, but when it's something that's shared by both wrong parties, then perhaps they can be together in the metaphysical universe, happy and free, bound together by whatever the rules that a benevolent God governs that world by. But when the things shared by both parties that they remain alive physically, but are dead inside, the circuitry of the brain sometimes serving to remind them of their state, only for it to shock them further into the maelstrom into which they've already descended. Is that not worse? Again, the philosophers and poets can have their thoughts on this, of which I am neither. I'm just simply someone who has observed this situation from close up. One lingering problem remains, is that we are taught there's divinity with a God who's omniscient and omnipresent. Yet I'm a novelist who has the absolute power of deciding this outcome, making me a God also. The God we know moves in mysterious ways with a plan that we can't even comprehend anyway, and thus there's no higher power that could forgive me. I've tried to take the divine, the little actions of our lives that reverberate across the decades, and do what I thought was best, by changing it into some kind of cost-benefit analysis, a balance sheet with limitations and terms. But in my heart I know there will be no atonement for me. It was always an impossible task, and that was precisely the point. This attempt has drained my energy as I see the light bringing into view the park and the bridges. I'd like to think that what I've done is not some kind of weakness or evasion, a final act of kindness to soften the oblivion into which they both stared, and also to cool the flames if they do await me. In the end, I may not also have wanted the attention and the instant judgments of the media, but I was also thinking that it would allow the reader to mould their own happiness with Robbie and Cecilia, based around whatever they would have liked to have built for themselves. But I will never be so self-serving as to say that they forgave me, for I never knew if they did, and I do not presume to speak whatever thoughts they may have had. If I had the power to conjure them now, I'd like to see them still alive, still in love, sitting side by side in whatever world they're in, and I would strive towards them, knowing that I would always fall short of them, but that they would see, crucially, that I had walked as far towards the impossible as I could, that I was indeed that little girl that once wrote the Trials of Arabella. The rest of history, my small part in a global catastrophe orchestrated by men with expansionist aims, I can't change. So if Robbie would have ended up on that front and Cecilia in Balham Station by another means, I cannot actually say. It truly is impossible, but now I must sleep.
Oh. Such gripping stuff you write. I mean, I want to know more, and it just holds the audience, I think. I'm sure everyone thought that here.
Thank
It was
you.
absolutely wonderful. Thank you for being with us.
No, it's been great to hear everyone again.
It's lovely. And I'd just like to talk a little bit about the writers group for a minute, as we're featuring the writers group tonight, having lots of readers from it. It's a fabulous thing, really, and it has been running for about sort of 9 or 10 years, as I said. And sometimes they set something for people to write to, like David said, it was right at the end of a novel. And what's amazing about it is to sit there and listen to how lots of people treat the same subject sort of totally differently. There's so much creativity in that group that it is absolutely wonderful. If you want to know more about it or to join or anything like that, do that. And you can find the details of that and all the other GFMA wonderful groups that they're involved in on the GFMA website. So, is Sheila here too? Yes. She's here, fantastic. I hadn't realised you'd come on, Sheila. We're going now, we're going to Scotland now, we're going to the Isle of Arran, and we're going to listen to Sheila McCallum. Sheila has presented many times, is obviously a member of the writers group, writes the most beautiful poetry, reads it absolutely beautifully. I always say this, but you do, Sheila. It's really lovely voice that really holds. And beautiful descriptive work, I think, that stuff that makes you, the imagery is so clear, makes you able to actually see it. And Sheila has also been a previous guest on one of our readings, and it was really interesting to listen to how you wrote some of that poetry and how you put some of that stuff together, not just poetry but writing in general. So I'd like to welcome Sheila. A big hand for Sheila. Lovely to have you with us.
I've written a poem. I met a man, Afro-Caribbean man, who lived in Brighton, and he came up to the island to stay with friends in the village where I live, and I often met him on walks. I didn't know an awful lot about his life in Brighton, except that we exchanged talks about Brighton because my mother lived there for years, so we knew the same venues and things. And a few weeks ago, I heard that he committed suicide. Last summer, he went to the Caribbean on a yacht. And when he came back and we met, he didn't say much about that. But I don't know the details of the suicide. I did watch the funeral on Zoom. But anyway, I wrote this poem. Mystery of Muldoon. His presence will ever haunt the Muldoon track. Figure in the distance, echoing, echoing, echo. A dark velvet man with flashing eyes and gleaming. A god of fire he was, a Loki, but cunning trickster only in his elusive smile. Vim, vigor, vibrance, all real, yet a patina of a half-truth. Though he seemed to walk along the greenwood path, it was the Via Dolorosa, whose stained surface he so calmly, carefree strode. Inside that sparkling frame dwelt a gloaming, a darkening spirit, a terrible weight, a weight too heavy for the strongest ox to bear, till the load collapsed him to final surrender. Today I walked the track, ice-cold light filtered through the pines, and birdsong pierced the stone-bleak silence. There he was, clad in shorts, 2 dogs in tow,
smiling, ever smiling, but gone before I can attract his glance. Midst the winter dreak, early wood anemones flower, tiny white teeth petals echo his smile, vast star smile. Flowers, not fragile as they look, and he was. Here's a frailty everyone mistook for strength. Here he lingers happily now, saint smile echoing, echo, far at last from the mad world. That Mahagonian city of extremes, of yes say the people and no say the people. Green city, crime city, art city, tart city, with a palace so opulent it overshadows poverty and sadness by its arching charm, harm balm. So it did happen there. So did it happen there, I wonder? All things happened there. I know, for I know that city too. Wherever it was, whatever circumstances congested to contour his final tragic fate, his shade will not in mahogany, nor in the Antilles of the Caribbean Rome, in unquiet slumbers lurk, but on this island in the Clyde, his spirit will nonchalant and smiling glide. His presence will ever haunt the Muldoon track. There he'll always be, clad in shorts, 2 dogs in tow. His smile, it seems, was caught in the wind, in the swirling mist, in the dappled sunlight. His smile in the first wood anemones spring awake. So Loki, the cunning trickster, is no more, but saint smiling velvet dark ghost is ever in that green distance, an echoing echo.
Thank you, Sheila. That was really moving, really beautiful. So we're moving on now to our guest this evening, who is JJ Joseph. Emily, sorry. We're not moving on to our guest. I'm so sorry. We're moving on to Emily Sherris. So sorry, Emily. So Emily has also taken part in performances before when we've had them, and have been in the writing group probably nearly from the beginning, I think.
10 years?
10 years, yeah, which is absolutely fantastic, and writes the most beautiful poetry, if I may say so, and is instrumental in starting up the reading group, which is one of the newer groups, but I think is well attended and going well.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Fabulous.
Thank you, Russ. Lovely warm welcome, and it's been an amazing and inspiring 10 years. Okay, my first poem this evening is impressive, called Impressive. Don't want to blow my own trumpet.
Oh, it is, it will be.
Called Impressive. As I stand in your garden, I open my scarlet fan, remembering the code I have just solved. I knew unconsciously that it was early, far too late. My insight was splendid, not impressive. I hold the fan in front of me, breathing in the rye aroma of coffee, an enemy changing your locks, and I smile at the affectionate one-upmanship. I take you through the dojang, posturing, disarming you with my desire to correct you adoringly, but I will not proofread your sweet. The dobok, thought you might be interested. Witticisms like a white crane, abstruse, puns that I should not even know, a decade that distanced us with a thrilling elbow. You are watching my display, but please tell me, are you impressed by the sifu in disarray? My next piece is called Madame, and it's sort of a companion piece to my favourite book, which is Never Let Me Go by Kazuo Ishiguro. I thoroughly recommend it. I have learned that Kathy H. has passed away, her pancreas stolen by a grey-eyed man who had no choice. She did not have a choice either. I whisper, completed. Their parlance gnarled, uneven, coiling around a gallery, cassette tapes, a destiny of absence that I cannot really control. The over-familiarity burns me when I mouth the word, an undeserving conduit for our students. Kathy, touching your skin felt like holding a letter about your reliance, your vulnerability, a manuscript that only compassionate people would want to read. The spider was unclear, shapeless on a memoir's dust jacket, and I quivered as it changed into a cornflower. You did not know why I was shaking, did not understand the wreckage of Janus. I claim your pillow, hide the cornflower in the cotton, and cradle it in the gloaming. Thank you. You will get a third poem, just pages are stuck together. Okay. So this last piece is called This Black Cat. This black cat is a branch that is pushed to the ground, striking me as I shuffle down the footpath. I hiss as the superstition splinters. Verification. This Black Cat is an unexpected audiobook. I have always loved occult green eyes. Sutika, you are a feminist. This Black Cat is 12:34 p.m. The seraphim clawing at my arm, pushing me to look at this harbinger. This Black Cat is scratched chinos. I couldn't hold either of them. Not like those heroines, says my bloodied inner critic. This black cat is expectancy. I'm frightened of hunting for tenderness, risque ciphers. This black cat is the hysterical desire for a room free from comrades and introspection. Savasana in the library, solitude, dislocated by rejection.
Don't leave. No, don't leave. Oh, that was wonderful. Thank you so much. Again, beautiful descriptive words and words that draw us into the stories and the, woven in. But I wanted to ask you about your anthology that's being compiled. Tell us a little bit about that. This is exciting.
Well, it's just a compilation really of pieces that I've worked on over the years, and I've written for a very long time, and I think it's probably time to put them all together and publish them.
And when will it be?
Oh gosh,
ready? Do we know?
Idea.
No, you're working on it now.
Yeah, just sort of creating more pieces and sort of selecting the pieces that I want to include at the moment.
Oh, that's fantastic. And it does feel absolutely right to be putting this together with all that work.
It's time.
Yeah, it's time. Well, best of luck with that. We should look forward to that.
Thank you very much.
Only show us someone.
Thank you.
And now, just forget that I said it before, now it's time to move to our guest, J.D. Joseph Adamson. Hello, JJ, are you there? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you.
Good, can hear me. So I'm going to, as a way of introduction, I'm going to read something that JJ's written. It's much clearer about what you're interested in and what you've been doing. So you've said, born and raised in East Africa, you're a musician currently based in London, as a multi-instrumentalist, singer and songwriter. And you've worked with both African and European musicians, bringing a unique blend of culture to your music. With experience as a music producer and sound engineer, you've run your own recording studio in the past. So in recent years, you've been focusing on creating African music, particularly from East Africa, alongside a friend that you met at a jam session, and you formed a band called A Man Called Jay, and the Muzunku tribe, if I said that right?
Yes.
So your music explores the fusion of East African rhythms with the sounds of European musicians, creating a truly unique and vibrant musical experience. It sounds wonderful. Sounds wonderful, JJ. Can you tell us a little bit about what we're going to hear this evening? Because it's music, I think, isn't it? I mean, you've got that full range of stuff that you've done and are doing and are part of, but I think it's the music that you're going to concentrate on tonight. Is that right?
Yes. So, as you have already done the introduction, I don't want to go back to that.
No, of course. So, do you want to tell us a bit about what you're going to play for us?
Yes, I have prepared 4 songs if we have time, but if we don't have the time, we can perform only 2.
Yeah, we can go over. I mean, I think we'd like to hear them, really. We're all here. And,
Okay.
everyone's nodding in the studio. So, yes, please. All 4 would be great. Yeah, clap. Let's have a clap. So you can hear us as well.
I've prepared songs which I've written, but they're going to be sung in Swahili, I'm afraid. After spending so much time, working out what to do and which direction to take, I decided to write these songs which makes sense to me first, not everybody else.
Right, yes, of course, yeah.
So the first song that I have written is a historical song. In fact, the song is called 1884. That the history behind this, it is how the African 19 European nations came together in Berlin. They congregated, they worked out how they are going to divide Africa and make it and own it. And we were not even there. So, and which is very interesting with the song, when you talk to Africans, some Africans do not even know their history. Many Africans do not understand why Africa is going through these miseries and changes. Yes, sometimes we like to blame someone else, but now the Europeans left Africa. But having left and thinking that they have given us our independence, in the true sense, it is not like that. So that's why I call the song 1884. So I don't know whether, let us hope that the sound holds. Yeah? So
Yeah.
This is 1884. Let us hear it. 1, 8, 8, 4.
Walikuja
walitoka mbali, so waliingia nchi zetu, mali zetu walichukua, walichukua ardhi za kiasili, mipaka wakaweka, tunapata matatizo, sababu ya mgawanyiko wa Afrika 1884. Hapo ndio mwanzo wa matatizo ya Afrika. Waligawanya, wakatupatia majina mengine, We know who did it. We know who did it. Yeah. We know who did it. We know who did it. We know. We know who did it. We know. We know who did it. Yeah. We know who did it. Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Walitoka mbali, We know who did it. Waliingia nchi zetu, mali zetu walichukua. We know who did it. Wakapatia majina mengine, We know who did it. We know. Go. Yeah. That was 1884.
Thank you so
And the pictures that you are watching at the back there, it's the album cover for this song is designed by a young Jamaican man, because I like to work with people from different
1-8-8-4.
Sorry. Yeah. So that's what is going on here. The pictures tells the story. You can see people came, they invaded, they took everything by force.
Yeah.
Now, when you hear that Africans are not wanted here in Europe, you wonder, somebody coming to your land, take it by force. Here we are, people are coming, they are running away from the situation that was created, not by them, but we are told you're not wanted here. But anyway, look, I don't want to get into all that politics. So that was 1884.
Really,
I don't know how it sounded, because really I can't monitor what is going on.
No, it sounded great actually. Yeah, we could all hear it really clearly.
Good.
That artwork is beautiful on there, isn't it?
Yeah.
We can see that quite clearly. It's beautiful. It's set up fantastic there. You can see it really clearly from home.
Good.
I was wondering, I was listening to that. It's absolutely fantastic. Where do you go out and perform these? Because this is really fantastic song, and the message is so important. Where
No,
do you take
these
that?
are brand new songs that I have
Brand
written,
new.
and we have put a band together.
Right.
The band is called J and the Muzungu Tribe,
Yes.
and the whole band, it's only me who is an African. So when you look at that band, the girl singing in front,
Yeah.
the mother is from Madagascar, the father is French, and Crispin, the English saxophone player, he's born here in the UK. Then I have got another French guitarist,
Yes.
and then I've got a young guy from Devon who is playing bass, and also I have got Louis, an English percussion player. But the band keeps changing, so we haven't performed all that much. We want actually to go into recording.
Oh yeah. Sounds
Recording is
fantastic.
very, very expensive.
Yes. It is,
So
of course.
we really want to do this properly. This is actually the very first time
Is
I
it?
have performed this live on GFMA. So you know.
Oh well, we're honoured because that's absolutely
I have been working with these guys for a long time. So
right.
yeah.
Well, we're honoured to you bring it here because it sounds absolutely fantastic,
Yeah.
and I think we'll all be looking forward to
So-
to what happens with this and where you take it, and would
Yeah.
fully support it. It sounds really wonderful.
So do you want me to perform another song?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So let me check my things here because they're mixed up. Number 43, Wanaume, it is 3, which is 49. Yeah, sorry. Okay. Now, the song I am going to perform is called Wanaume Wanaumia. Now, the reason why I decided to call it Wanaume Wanaumia in Swahili, it means men are suffering in silence. Yeah. And again, I don't want to go political because I know I have seen many friends of mine. Let me look for it here. Which is that? 3? Oh yeah. Right. The thing is, I've got so many friends who are really going through hard times, and sometimes those problems, I don't know how I want to call them, but the song is about men suffering in silence. They are crying out for help. Yeah. So this is Wanaume Wanaumia. Right. Let us go. Here we go. Yeah. Wanaumia, wanaumia. Oh, wanaumia. Wanaume, wanaumia, wanaumia. Oh, wanaumia. Oh, bambadoba. Ninao mambo mengi ya kusema. Leo sina mengi. Napozaliwa huku duniani, wazazi watu ni wawili, Mwenyezi Mungu alivyopanga haitabadilika. Mwenyezi Mungu alivyopanga, lazima mtoto awe na baba na mama. Wanaumia, 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 wanaumia. Now, macho yanacheka, machozi moyoni, ya. Da 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 da. Watoto wanaumia kama silaha, wazazi wao wamekuwa maadui. Masikitiko, masikitiko makubwa mno. Watoto wanaokuwa hawajui baba zao. Macho yanacheka, machozi moyoni. Mwenyezi Mungu alivyopanga, hakuna kubadilika, hakuna kubadilisha. Wanaumia, 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 yeah. Wanaumia, wanaumia, yeah, wanaumia, 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 wanaumia. Oh yeah, yeah. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Sababa duba 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 duba. That was
that's fantastic.
Wanaume wanaumia, men suffering in silence.
Yes.
Yes. These are totally brand new songs, never performed anywhere.
Well, it's
Nobody
wonderful to
knows
hear
them.
JJ, who's playing
I
the
decided
instruments
because
on
I've
that?
been. Can anyone hear me okay?
Yes. JJ, who's playing the instruments on that fantastic soundtrack?
Yeah. What else do you need to know?
I said, who is playing the instruments on that? Is that the people in the band?
No, these instruments I just played by myself here.
You just recorded all that yourself. It's absolutely
Yeah.
fantastic. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Oh, it's lovely. Tell us about is that the thumb piano you're playing there?
The thumb piano, it's one of those things that I'm really concentrating on doing, because I've been toying around with playing maybe jazz, funk, or this and that, but I realized that we need to bring our instruments before the guitar, before the piano, before the harp was introduced in Africa. We made our own instruments.
Yes.
We did all those things, and in fact, I got a contract to do a song for Orange mobile phone,
Oh,
just based on this fact that when they gave me a contract, I insisted I have to play African instruments. The music has to sound African. And the song I translated was by a French singer, jazz musician, very, 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 very good. Her name is called Sophie Hunger. So I changed that into East African sounding music. So that's what I'm doing. And we are doing, with the help of these guys, the reason why I said I want the music to be played by Europeans, it's all about sharing.
yes.
If you, I want, and when I'm playing with the band, I don't tell them exactly what to do. I tell them, well, look, this is the chord sequence here. Play what you hear in your mind. I'm not into this dictatorship kind of thing. Oh yeah, well, I'm an African, so therefore everything has to sound African. Who cares? I listen to Indian music. I listen, and that's where I get all my influences all over.
Sounds fantastic. So it's all sort of created together.
Yes,
Yeah, lovely.
that's the whole thing. Yeah, but actually, if we have time, because the song I'm going to perform next, it is called "The People of the World,"
Oh, lovely.
and this song here, let me see if I can find. This is it. What is happening today in the world? It is shocking, from the Middle East to Africa. Now, today, many people do not know that over 10 million people in Africa have lost their lives today.
Yes.
Some of them are displaced. People in Sudan, in Ethiopia, Cameroon, Nigeria, Rwanda, and Congo. But you will never see those things on mainstream media. They want to show us what they want to, and I have just to be, when I came to the UK, I really thought that Europeans are more advanced. They are advanced in technology, fine, but they are not advanced in morals. This one, I know some people, I'm gonna get stick over this, but I can tell you, yeah. Anyway, so this one is called Walimwengu. Walimwengu means people of the world. They don't want peace. They want to kill each other for no reason. So the power of debate these days is out. Look at how our African kids killing each other on the streets of London. One cannot actually hold a conversation. Now, disagreements, it turns into a war. Anyway, I can speak for 9 months on this. So, let us go 48. Walimwengu. All right. Walimwengu. Right. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Tutafanya nini? Yeah, yeah. Every day I wake up hoping that one day walimwengu wanapenda kuungana, yeah, yeah. Sababu gani walimwengu hawataki maendeleo? Sababu gani walimwengu wanapenda kuuana, yeah, yeah. Of course they want to kill each other. Sababu gani walimwengu hawataki maendeleo? Oh, oh, yeah. Wanataka kuuana. Oh, oh. Wanapenda kuuana, yeah, yeah. Hawataki maendeleo. Hawataki maendeleo. They don't want progress. Hawataki maendeleo. Oh, oh, oh. Wanataka kuuana, yeah, yeah. Wanapenda kuuana. Hawataki maendeleo. Hawataki maendeleo. Aha. Sababu gani walimwengu hawataka kuuana, yeah, yeah. Sababu gani walimwengu hawataki maendeleo? Wanataka kuuana, yeah, yeah. Wanapenda kuuana, yeah. Hawapendi maendeleo. Hawapendi maendeleo. Oh, oh. Sababu gani walimwengu wanapenda kuuana, yeah, yeah, yeah. Sababu gani walimwengu hawataki maendeleo? Eh? Sababu gani walimwengu hawataki maendeleo? They want to kill each other every day. Sababu gani walimwengu hawataki maendeleo? I wake up early morning every day hoping that, oh yeah, peace will prevail one day throughout the universe. Hawapendi maendeleo. Yes, sir. Hawapendi maendeleo. Yeah. Yes.
It was excellent, JJ.
So that was maendeleo.
That was...
Now, the last song I want to sing, I don't want to go on. So if you have time, I can talk about it a little bit.
Before you do, JJ, we do want
Yes.
to hear it. We usually open questions to the
yes.
audience.
Go
So
ahead.
can we do that now, and then we can
Yes.
come back to your
Exactly.
last song?
Exactly.
This is so lovely. Thank you so much for sharing all this with us. And I'm sure there are people who've got questions.
Right.
Let me have a look and see what I can see from here. Can you put your hand up if you want to ask a question? I know that there's lots of questions from the studio itself, but I'm just wondering out there first. Let's have a look on the Zoom.
I'm sure Debbie Gordon has something to ask.
Debbie, have you got a question to ask? Oh, somebody's got their hand up now. And Antoinette, have you got a question you want to ask?
Yes, I'd like to ask JJ, who inspired you with your music?
I started playing music when I was 11 years old, and I was actually in school in Uganda. You see, my mother had a small radio, and I am going to do something about that. He had this radio every day from morning until dawn. Or the other day, we were listening to Congolese music. So Congolese music has got so much to do with what I do with music. Yeah. Have you ever heard any Congolese music at all?
No, I've heard some Swahili music, but not Congolese.
Ah, okay. So, you see, what we are hearing now, when I hear people talking about appropriation and stuff like that, African music is being taken and changed it and turned into something else. So, for example, if you hear Afro-Cuban music, but now people are actually acknowledging it that Afro-Cuban music is African music because it traveled all the way from Angola and then Mozambique, Congo, and some West African musicians like from Nigeria and all that. So, and then it has been taken, repackaged, but then African music is still there. And we are always told that you can't do this with African music, you can't do this. So, yes, the inspiration is from the radio of my mother. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? Oh. Can't hear.
Well, what's your favorite instrument? What do your favorite instrument?
I don't have anything to call favorite. I just play whatever falls into my hand. Yeah. I'm sorry, maybe have I answered your question or?
Yes, you have.
Good.
So we've got a question here from in the studio. Your voice is still a bit echoey, apparently.
Yeah, you know why? As I said, we have got all this. Maybe if I lower, because I want to hear you.
Oh, I see. Because you're listening.
If I turn down, if I don't speak, then you might not hear me echo.
Yeah.
All right.
So,
that's what I would be doing.
Let's have a question. Yeah.
Hi JJ, I wanted to ask you, the two songs that we heard, one theme was mental health, and particularly the problem with men not expressing having mental health problems, which I think is really important that you are singing about that. The other one was about war in Africa and the lack of you know, the mainstream media, for example, they're not talking about this. At the moment, we hear a lot about what's going on in Gaza and Israel, the conflict, but it's true, we don't hear about all these other places. And personally, I don't watch the BBC very much. I watch Al Jazeera because that is covered, you know, all the other conflicts in there. So mental health and conflicts in Africa, are there any other themes that you like to sing about and that inspire you?
Oh yeah, I have got so many subjects that I can talk about. But these are the two subjects that really has caught me in a way that I didn't think that would. Because you see, talking about these issues is very tricky. You see, say for example, when I'm talking about men suffering in silence, men, because they believe that they don't want to talk about things which are troubling them, otherwise they are going to be labeled as if, let's say for example, you will hear somebody say, men don't cry. Of course, a man is supposed to cry. He's a human being. Human beings are human beings. Yeah. Now, because of this macho thing, and people are really suffering. That one I know. I've experienced it.
Yeah. I think you. I was thinking.
But then, how do you go and express things unless you do a song? Because you see, if you do a song in 3 minutes and you talk about a subject that is really hammering people, they will remember it. They will remember it, as opposed to come and say, yeah, well, you know, people gathering around drinking beer and stuff and telling, yeah, well, I can't do this. I'm talking about men here. What I have seen is that it is true. Everywhere in the world, believe me, whether you are in China, Japan, because I have been doing my research, you know, to come out with a song like this. I have actually seen in Japan, the suicide rate is so huge just because something tiny went wrong. And those societies, everything they wanted to be perfect. See? So, and then talking about war, it is good that you are watching Al Jazeera, but that's it. You see, Al Jazeera is not everywhere. Al Jazeera, it is like any other news outfit. Yes, they will go into the villages here and there and collect information, but that's it. There are no solutions. And I can tell you, the wars that you see in Africa today, they are not actually instigated by the Africans themselves. No. I used to think, my wife used to tell me, why are you thinking like this? Because I really thought that Europeans and people from all over the world, they want to help Africa. But now, as I'm looking at things, because these situations happen because Africa has got everybody that they need. I will give you an example. Congo is the country which is producing coltan to run mobile phones. It is producing battery cars for electric cars. Yet in Congo, they don't even have motorbikes. So tell me, and we know who these people are. And most of them are colliding with Africans themselves. So we can't win.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I think we've got one more question.
Yes.
From Debbie Gould would like to ask a question.
Debbie Gould.
Yeah.
Oh.
Debbie Gould, amazing.
Hi. I've not got very good reception. Greetings, JJ.
Yes, Debbie.
35 years over time, at least 35 years from JJ. I first met JJ when he joined my ex-husband and very good friend now, Congolese band, literally Taxi Pata Pata,
Yes.
as giving it a good rhythmic bedrock. Yeah, I just congratulate you on staying on this and how you've, developed such exceptional skills in all layers, like with your own music and interpretations and in the studio, producing others and especially documenting. So I wanted to ask, what made you make that shift from your own creativity to that generosity and that was curiosity and with the means to document others? What was your motivation and drive and inspiration there?
Oh, you mean, you see, so Debbie, it is very good that you are here. I played in your ex-husband's band. You guys, we were touring Britain, we were touring everywhere. So my next task is actually to create a documentary of African musicians here in the UK. And I am not expert in documentary making. Everything that I do it out of frustration. You are looking for somebody to do something, somebody is telling you, I can't do that. You are looking for something to do that. I said, okay, man, look, I can just adapt. I will do. Now I can operate cameras, I can operate computers, but look, let me say thank you to you ladies who are doing this, who are supporting African music, and you are bringing African musicians and introducing them to a wider audience. Now, I would like really to collaborate with people like yourself, GFMA. Let us create a documentary, a history of African music. There is so much trash going on. People are just talking things they don't know. You see, people can't play, they can't sing, they can't dance, but they will tell you they are the best out there. So I'm sorry, sometimes I'm getting emotional. I'm not supposed to be. So I'm here. I'm still.
You're allowed. From the heart.
So we will get in touch very soon.
Thank you.
Bless.
Thank you very much. Before we have the last song, I'm just going to say the thank yous to everybody before people disappear. What a wonderful evening. I'm sure you'll agree this has been a terrific evening. I want to say big thank yous to Louisa and Jill and the whole GFMA team. And to talk about, we are still on Zoom for lots of workshops, and check those out on the website. A big thank you to the audience. Even people who performed have been audience here tonight. Without the audience, there is no show. And the performers, Antoinette Clark-Akalani, Constance Maria, Mary Kenya, David Braybrook, Sheila McCallum, Emily Sherries, and our guest, JJ. It's been a wonderful evening of celebrating being together and writing and sending the message out, I think, really. So we'd love to end with your last song, JJ. Thank you so much for being with us. It's been an inspiration. Thank you.
Thank you. So now, the song I'm going to do is called Malaika in Swahili. I do not normally sing love songs, but for this one, it has got a very special, how can I say, the person who wrote this song it is believed that he was Tanzanian, but then there is another person from Mombasa, and then there is another one who is known as Fadhili William. Fadhili William took the song, sang it, recorded it, and everything was accredited to him. So the man who wrote the song is not, he never even got a penny. And this is where we need also to be talking about music copyrights and everything. I know Louisa and I, we had done something at Charlton House long time ago to talk about how this music works and stuff like that. Anyway, this song is called Malaika, Angel. But by the way, I have, me being me, I have already turned upside down and I'm doing my own version of it. So thank you.
Listen to what I'm saying.
Yes.
It is natural to love someone, poor or rich.
Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Malaika, nakupenda malaika. Oh, oh. Malaika, oh, nakupenda malaika. Oh, oh, oh. Naje nifanyeje? Kijana mwenzio, nashindwa na mali sina, ningekuoa malaika. Pesa zasumbua roho yangu, pesa zasumbua roho yangu. Nakupenda lakini sina pesa, nakupenda lakini yeah, sina mali, nashindwa na mali sina, ningekuoa malaika. Nashindwa na mali sina, oh. Zasumbua roho yangu, nifanyeje yeye, nami nifanyeje? Kijana mwenzio, nashindwa na mali sina, ningekuoa malaika. One more time. Every day,
From dawn to sunset.
every night, ukuwaza wekidege. I need you. Oh, I love you. Nakupenda lakini I love you. Sina pesa, nakupenda lakini I need you. Sina mali, nashindwa na mali sina, ningekuoa malaika. Nashindwa na mali sina we, I'll be there for you. Nina mapenzi nawe, I will be there. I will be there for you. Yeah. Go. That was Malaika. you, thank you.
Thank you so much, JJ. I hope
Thank
you've all
you very
enjoyed
much.
this wonderful evening. Good
Yes.
night, everyone.
Thank you very much for having me.
Oh, it's been a
And before I go, can I say something?
Yes.
Yeah. You see the shirt I'm wearing?
Yes.
These are my own garments I'm making.
Oh gosh, they're wonderful.
And this is, I don't know whether you can see it properly. There is a head of a king there called King Kabalega, who resisted and fought colonialism until he was betrayed by his own people.
Oh, that's tough.
So when I hear people talking about betrayal, I always tell them, don't even talk about anything. There is a man who fought for 6 years in the jungle. He dug tunnels and stuff. You are talking about being betrayed. We are betraying ourselves. But anyway, look. So we are commemorating 100 years of Kabalega. And actually, I have got so many variations of these things. And everything that you see in these garments, they are from the palace. Now, then again, there is a Jamaican lady who designed the fabric pattern. As I said, I am working with people from all over. See, what I have realized, if we learn to listen to each other, but then again and give, I don't know, we don't live in a perfect world. You come with an idea, somebody steals it. Then they say it is theirs. And that's why the world is actually not really going the way it is supposed to. So now the people I choose to work with, I have either have worked, like, you see, like what we are doing here, I don't really normally sing on Zoom and stuff. We had a long discussion with Louise and Gilles. I didn't even know that this would be possible. But the reason why I did this, because I have seen their journey. I know where they are going. I can see the challenges that they are going through. But if we put our heads together, we can crack it. See, with modern technology now, we can do a whole lot of things. You have got script writers there, you have got people from different backgrounds. Why can't we make a film?
Yes!
Yeah. And I must say, I have got the gear to do actually proper film. If there is any filmmaker you know out there and is well versed in technology, send that person to me. Let us work together. And especially women. I am interested to see how women, they can produce their own documentaries, how they can actually record stuff. I can train them in sound, video editing, whatever it is. All that now we can do. Thank you very much. As I said, I can talk for 9 months. Yeah. Yes.
Thank you. What a great evening. Bye, everyone.